I was recently asked a question in the comments of one of my compatibility guide videos that made me realize how confusing the naming of DDR and GDDR can be. So, let's take a look at what the difference is. Before we dive in, let's clear up these names just so we're all on the same page. When we say DDR, we will be referring to your computer's RAM. There have been many generations of DDR RAM, with the most recent and well-known ones being DDR2, DDR3 and DDR4. GDDR, on the other hand, refers to the video memory of your graphics card. For example, the NVIDIA GTX 1080 comes with 8GB of GDDR5X. So, now that that's out of the way, let's dig in. The comment reads like this: does a GPU have a DDR like DDR3 or DDR4? And if I have the DDR3 GPU and the DDR4 motherboard, will it work? Let's take this apart. First up, yes, the GPU does have a DDR. DDR stands for double data rate and is usually used to talk about memory. Graphics cards use GDDR, where the G stands for graphics. Secondly, you can pair different types of DDR and GDDR. A GDDR5 GPU can run alongside a DDR2 RAM-equipped system without having any compatibility issues with it whatsoever. Now let's take a look at why that is. You see, GDDR and your usual system RAM are different breeds of memory optimized for different workloads. GDDR has a massive memory bus width, so that it can transfer all of the huge files that it has to store rapidly without becoming a bottleneck. GDDR is also very good at dealing with a simple, big task every tick. DDR, on the other hand, has a narrower memory bus, which means that it can transfer less bytes of data at once. On the other hand, DDR is great at dealing with multiple operations per tick. If this all sounded like jargon gibberish, let me give you a concrete example. Your graphics card is there to render images. For example, if you're playing a game, the GPU needs to render all of those frames that you're seeing. For that, it may need to store massive 4K textures, lighting maps, and all sorts of other large files inside of the GDDR. These may be anywhere from a few hundred kilobytes to tens or even hundreds of megabytes in extreme cases of pretty simple files that have to be shoved around every fraction of a second. On the other hand, your system RAM, the DDR, doesn't deal with a few hundred massive files. Instead, it deals with thousands upon thousands of tiny requests from every program that is currently running on your system. Antivirus software, web browsers, games, and the operating system itself are constantly bombarding the system RAM with minuscule bits of data. Those don't require the kind of huge bandwidth that a graphics card's memory has, but instead they require the DDR to be able to process lots of different things every tick. A few other things worth noting are that GDDR also tends to run on less power and thus emits less heat than its DDR RAM counterpart. So, how come they can coexist in the same machine if they are so different? The answer is simple. They don't really talk to each other all that much. The GPU talks to its GDDR, the CPU talks to its DDR. Then the GPU and the CPU talk to each other through the PCI Express bus. Different kinds of memory, just mind their own business. And that's about it. The conclusion would be that you don't need to worry about compatibility between your graphics card's memory and your main system memory, because they mostly act independently of each other. But now you know why. So, I really do hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more, you can click on the right to watch my latest video, or on the left to watch a random video, or just click the round channel icon in the middle to subscribe. And as always, this has been Vlad from Good Sauce Tech, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care, bye bye.